In this video, I'll give you a 7-day program to learn to sing with a darker, richer, fuller sound color. You can use it to make your high notes sound less sharp or shrill. I will catch a grenade! Or I will catch a grenade! You can also use this to create fun contrasts in your singing. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. And you can use it to improve your general sound. So instead of all of me, I could go all of me, or all of me, or all of me. And I know that that last one sounds a bit extreme, but during these 7 days, I will help you unlock the full range from your neutral to your most extreme dark. So for the rest of your singing career, you'll have access to that full spectrum and you can choose where you want to be. And to actually get this to work for your voice, we need to practice. So this is not a video filled with theory, it's a very practical video divided in 7 days. And each day will give you a new challenge that's slightly more difficult and that moves forward from the previous one. So please don't binge watch this video from your couch, but actually join in and do the challenges that I suggest. And if you do, I'm pretty sure that in 7 days, you'll have a ton more control over your sound color, the fullness and the richness of your voice. Why 7 days? Why not 7 steps? Because I want these different challenges to sit with you for a bit. And I think that if you do them one after another, you'll get less results than if you spend a couple of minutes every day for 7 days. How you use this video in the end is up to you, but my recommendation is you space it out over a week. And of course, if day 1 is too basic for you, then you can skip ahead to day 2 or day 3. But especially when we get to day 3 and 4, really take your time playing with the challenges that I lay out, because I think even if you're an advanced singer, you'll still benefit from doing these challenges. Now, before we begin with day 1, I have a bit of a crazy dream. I've made it my mission to make high quality vocal education accessible to anyone, regardless of financial means. And you might say, but Bob, YouTube. And then I might say, yes, but if you really want to improve, if you want to go faster, if you want to avoid dead ends and wasting time, YouTube is not enough. There's 3 crucial things that I think you're missing. The first, a structured long-term learning path. The second, personal feedback to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing. And the third is accountability to become consistent with your practice. That's why I created Singing for All, a community where you get all 3. When you join, you can decide what you want to pay, and in exchange you get unlimited access to the courses, the community, and the weekly live events. If you're interested, have a look at the link in the description, and I hope to see you there. All right, now let's continue to day 1. Find the darkness. All right, so today's goal is to make sure that besides your natural speaking and singing voice, you can also access your very dark, extreme sound. And there are a couple ways in, and we'll just try a couple, and then you can select the one that works best for you. So the first one to get a dark sound is to yawn. Like that. And what happens when we yawn is our larynx moves to its lowest position, and that's the main element that creates a dark sound. So when I yawn, and then I yawn with sound, I naturally get a dark sound, as opposed to ha, which is my natural sound. Try it. So ha, and there you go. That's your most extreme position of your larynx, which gives you your most extreme dark sound. And in these first 6 days, we'll actually look at very dark extreme sounds, because when you can do the very dark extreme, and obviously you can already do your neutral sound, your natural sound, then everything in between gets unlocked as well. And when you come from a very extreme sound and then you relax into something right about here, then that will be way easier than when you start from neutral and then you try to force that dark sound out. It's easier to come from extreme and then relax in the direction of your neutral sound. So that's why in these first days we'll go for very extreme sounds. So again, go for that yawn and see if you can get the darkest possible sound. You can try it on a different vowel. He, ho. And now you can also try to do it without a yawn. Another way you can access your extreme dark sound is by pretending you're an opera singer and really go for a caricature. So instead of going ha, which is my natural sound, my neutral sound, I'll go ha, ha, ha. For some people, this is an easier and more intuitive way in compared to the yawn. A third way in could be to laugh like a bad guy or like a bad heavy. So, ha 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 ha, etc. So, today I just want you to experiment with these very extreme dark sounds and figure out which of these three helps you get into your dark sound in the most relaxed and natural way possible. And if you want, you can already start to sing some notes, but the goal for today is just to experiment where and how do I find that dark sound. An additional tip, if you lower your jaw, like in a yawn, it's also easier to get that dark sound. Ha, as opposed to ha. It's still possible, but it's easier if you let that jaw drop. I designed all of these days so you can make real progress in just a couple of minutes. So just play around with this for a couple of minutes today, and then tomorrow come back for day 2, separate notes. Today, you're going to take your favorite way in, so it's your yawn or the opera singer or the bad guy laughing, and you'll start with that, and then you'll make that into a note. So for example, ha, ha, and then we take that starting point, and we're going to repeat that note on the same vowel, same pitch, and we're going to go lighter back to our neutral sound with every repetition. So like this. Ha, 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 ha. And then I'm sort of at my neutral sound color. And we're going to do this on some different vowels. For example, E, 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 A, 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 A. And again, we'll start at that very extremely dark sound color. And I know that probably, unless you sing classical or unless for comedic effect, you'll probably never go to that super dark sound color. But by accessing that and by making sure that you can do the very dark version, you'll unlock everything in between. So for these first days, try to really find the most extreme place to start and then work back to neutral. Now we're also going to do this in other parts of our range. So this for me was sort of low mid-range. I will also try it in my low range. My low range will be different from your low range. So find a note that's in the low part of your range and go ha, 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 hey, 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 hey. And also do the same thing in your mid-range, in your high range, in your very high range. So for example, hey, hey, yawn first. Hey, 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 he, 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 he. Yawn. So for today, I want you to experiment with that whole range of dark to neutral, and I want you to experiment with your whole vocal range and also do it on different vowels. And you'll probably find that some vowels are easier and some are harder. And you'll also find that you can boost your dark sound even darker by letting your vowel go a bit darker as well. So an E will naturally turn into a bit of an E instead of E. It's harder to get that very dark. So if you notice that happens, let it happen. But it's good to be aware that you are changing your position of your larynx and you're changing your vowel shape as well if you go for that very extreme sound. When this feels comfortable, you can also do it the other way around. So from neutral to dark. And for most people, this is harder, but try that as well. So, hey, 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 hey. And you can go back and forth. Etc. And when you do this, you could try to pay attention to when, especially when you come back from dark to neutral, when you find that you have a sound that sounds like you, but that sounds like a bit of a richer, fuller, enhanced version of your normal sound. Not like you're putting on a voice, but something that la 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 la. Maybe here, my neutral sound, la la. Slightly darker, slightly fuller. So maybe that's what you will end up using in your songs most often. A slightly darker, richer version of your own voice. So you can already start paying attention today to where that place in your voice might be. And then when you're done, we'll continue to day 3, sustained notes. Today we'll do the same thing as on day 2, but this time we'll slide. So no separate notes, but ha, he, hey. Also in your higher range, ha, yawn, ha, ha, he. So this is starting in the extreme and then relaxing into your neutral sound color. The harder version is to go from neutral to dark. He. And when you feel comfortable, you can go back and forth as well. And it's fun to point out that this is all me singing the same pitch. But by coloring it darker or lighter, we perceive this same pitch as lower or higher. So today, just spend a couple minutes experimenting with these slides and becoming comfortable with the different vowels throughout your vocal range. And when you're done, we'll continue to day 4, alternating lines. Now we're going to apply what we've learned into a song. So the first step is to pick a song and just make it a nice, comfortable song that you know well, that you can sing well, that you don't have to strain for. It doesn't have to be extreme in range at first. If you want more of a challenge, of course, pick a harder song, but I would recommend to start with an easy song. And then we're just going to sing the song and alternate one line neutral, one line extremely dark. For example, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter or Mars, etc. Whatever song you choose, alternate lines and become more comfortable with the difference between your neutral color and your very dark color within the context of a song. If this is too hard, feel free to pause and find that yawn position in between. Fly me to, etc. And generally, a song that's a bit slower will be easier because it will give you more time to find the right position. And if this is too easy, pick a faster song or a song with a more challenging range. I would catch a grenade for you, jump in front of a train for you. And again, it's okay if this dark sound doesn't sound super usable yet. We're really going for the most extreme version at this point, because when we unlock this, we'll unlock the rest of the spectrum as well. So on this day 4, experiment with a couple of songs, alternate lines, go very extreme with your sound color, and when you're done, continue to day 5, dark to neutral lines. So today you can use the same song or songs that you used yesterday, but now we're going to sing the whole song and we're going to try to start every line with our most extreme dark sound and then let it come up back to our neutral sound during the line. So, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter or Mars, etc. Again, if you use a slow song that's within your comfortable range, this will be easier. And if you use a faster song that is more challenging range-wise, this will be way more challenging. But just experiment with this. Try a couple of songs and go dark to light on a single line. And then we'll continue to day 6. On day 6, we'll do the same as on day 5, but now we'll go from neutral to dark, which is harder for most. So, like this. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. And with day 5 and day 6, you've probably noticed it's quite challenging to keep singing the right melody while you're also changing the sound color. So that's an additional challenge. And if you feel comfortable with this, you can consider taking a more challenging song again, or you can go neutral to dark to neutral on a single line. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars, etc. And when you're done having fun for today, let's continue to day 7, song challenges. The challenges that I've given you on day 4, 5, and 6 are song challenges. They're small challenges. I've created a ton of them, but these are 3 examples of challenges that you can apply to any song you like to sing to improve your performance of the song and to improve your skill. In this case, your skill of controlling your sound color. So now we'll take these 3 song challenges, alternating lines, dark to neutral and neutral to dark, and we're going to repeat them with one additional challenge. We're going to assign grades to the sound color. So if we call our neutral sound color 0 and our most extreme dark sound color 10, we're going to repeat these same challenges, but we're going to assign a value. So instead of going from extremely dark to neutral, we're going from 7 to 3, for example. Or we're going from 10 to 5, or we're going from 3 to 0. And when alternating, we could say we're going from 0 to 3 to 0 to 3, or 2 to 6 to 2 to 6. So until now, we've spent a lot of time in our neutral position and a lot of time in our most extreme position. But that most extreme position we'll probably not use in most of our songs. It depends a bit on the style of songs that you sing and on your personal taste and on your voice. But today we're going to use these values to find out which spectrum of darkness we like to use in our own voice. So let's assume that we think our natural voice is usable. Now we're just going to find and experiment how dark we can go so it feels like a darker, richer version of our own voice, but it does not yet feel like we're playing a character. So for example, we'll go 0 to 4 to 0 to 4, or we'll go from 7 dark to 0 dark, or we're going from 0 to 4. And whatever you choose to do, the whole goal of today is to find that spectrum that is usable for your voice, for your taste, for your style. And when you do this, it might help to slow down, to really pay attention to your sound, maybe record yourself, so you can then say, for the rest of your singing career, this is the spectrum that I like to use. And when you can assign that label of I'm gonna go 5 dark or 4 dark, now you sort of know where that is and you'll be able to find that quicker. So just have fun with this for today, and then you might wonder, what after these 7 days? What's next? What if I want to continue improving my skill in controlling my sound color? Well, I think even if you're a super experienced, advanced singer, you can still keep improving using the song challenges of day 4, 5, 6, and 7. But you can make it harder and harder for yourself by choosing more challenging songs and by giving yourself trickier challenges within the song challenge. So by assigning grades, I'm going to go to 4 dark, for example, that'll be harder than just saying, I'm going to go from my neutral to my most extreme. So you can make this as hard or as easy as you want. And a quick way to determine how hard you should make this for yourself is by asking yourself the question, I wonder if I could sing Fly Me to the Moon and go from 4 to 7 darkness on every line. If you can wonder genuinely, would I be able to do that? Then it's probably right at the edge of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where you want to be if you want to improve your skill. So use days 4, 5, 6, and 7 to give yourself more and more difficult challenges, and you'll become a sound color master. And remember, if you want more help with this or with the rest of your singing, and maybe you want some personal feedback, have a look at the link in the description to Singing for All. You choose what you want to pay, and you get unlimited access to the courses, the live events, and the community. Hope to see you there. But if instead of checking out Singing for All, you do not want to improve that fast, and you want to spend some more time on YouTube first, then I'd at least recommend you do it with one of my videos. I think you'll like that one, and I think you'll like that one as well.